Any more on page 6? Yes, Jara East.
Honorable Speaker, for the sake of consistency, yes, on the ensuing debates, it reads, the following honorable members took the floor and continued the debate on the principles and merits of the bill, as opposed to general merits and principles, for the sake of consistency. Thank you.
Thank you. Page 7. Thank you. Page 7. Yes, Woolly East.
No, I want to take us back to page 6. Yes, please. Can you help Madam to hear me, please? Yes, Madam, page 6. The following National Assembly members took the floor and continued the debate. Madi Sise, his title is not written there. It should be Honorable Madi, not Madi Sise.
Okay, thank you.
Hello. Honorable Speaker.
Nobody has picked this up, but I just want for us to ensure that we have everything correct. And where it says here, under our page 7, Speaker's rulings, honorable members, according to so and so, and I quote, whether that should not be in quotes, in brackets, because this is not my language, it's a reproduction of the provisions of the Constitution. So I think it should be in quotes. So please take note. Thank you. Yes, Joe Kadu.
Yes. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Let me take us back to page 6 on ensuing debate. I contributed yesterday, but I cannot see my name here. It is not captured. Yesterday. Thank you.
Page 8, Sinomentary.
Where it states the Speaker's ruling. Speaker's ruling, the members, according to Section 226A, 2B, and 4B of the 1997 Constitution, under this section shall not be, the B is missing, be passed. Page 7. Yeah.
Earlier on raised his tag. Let me take this and then.
We are dealing with page 7, right? Page 7. Yes, when you go, question put and agreed to, the same problem we rectified yesterday, that is the question mark after no. And then when you come to Speaker's ruling, it says, honorable members, according to Section 226, 2B, and 4B of the 1997 Constitution, reads. So we say, which reads, and I quote, I think that will flow. And then when you come to the last paragraph, you say 3/4 of all the National Assembly as required. I think we put members there. 3/4 of all the National Assembly members. Yeah. You've seen it.
Exact wordings of the Constitution. Thank you. Any more corrections? Yes, Basse?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm not comfortable with the submission of the member for Cantora. The word draft, the document itself, there's no word draft on this document. And this is the document we are talking about. And if you look at again, it is being repeated. Look at here for consistency purpose. If you go in by draft should be here again. Where you have honorable members, it has been moved and seconded that the bill entitled the Constitution. So are you going to put there the draft Constitution again? So therefore, her submission has to be considered. Thank you.
As I said, we were guided by this. And what it says here is the Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia 2020 promulgation bill. It is still, it's a bill. Thank you. Page 8, sorry. Yes, Woolley is page 8.
Yes, page 8, first line, first paragraph, where it says the said bill falls. So we are reporting, it's in the past now, the said bill has fallen short. I think that'll be better.
On page 8.
The second paragraph, which reads, therefore, as the presiding officer, THE is missing.
Yes, noted. Honorable member for Lower Badibu, yes. I saw your tag on, no?
Yes, Honorable Speaker, I'm not comfortable here. I just need an assistance there. Where it says the Speaker's ruling, Honorable members, according to Section 2262, B and 4B of the 1997 Constitution, reads, and I quote, I believe the Speaker is not quoting from herself. She is quoting from the Constitution. I believe it has to be she quote, because she is not speaking for herself, she is speaking for us, the Assembly.
Observation, thank you. Any more observations so that we'll do the corrections? Any more? Yes, Jara East.
Honorable
Which
Speaker,
page?
no, I beg to differ with my honorable colleague from Lower Badibu. I beg to differ. You can't say she quotes. You can only say she quoted. We are reporting. Thank you.
And it will be, I'm sure the correct version will be done, or corrections. Thank you. So we're satisfied. I take it that we're satisfied with the corrections. Thank you. It has been moved and seconded that the record of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Tuesday, the 22nd of September, 2020 be adopted with amendments. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. Thank you very much. Deputy Clerk, can we please proceed? Thank you.
Motion. Debate on the State of the Nation Address 2020 delivered by His Excellency the President of the Republic on Thursday, 17 September 2020.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, I'll now open the debate, consideration and debate on the State of the Nation Address delivered by His Excellency the President of the Republic of the Gambia on Thursday, the 17th of September 2020. May I request that any honorable member who wishes to take part in the debate may do so by raising his or her constituency tag to be recorded and will be given the floor. But again, before giving the floor, may we all remind ourselves to observe and respect the rules of debate as outlined and contained under Clause 29 of Clause 1 of our standing orders, which reads, every honorable member shall restrict his or her observations to the subject matter under discussion, and the emphasis is mine. Furthermore, Clause 30, subclause 1 also reads, and I quote, debate upon any motion or amendment to a motion or upon any bill, part of a bill, or amendment to a bill shall be relevant thereto, except in the case of a motion for the adjournment of the assembly. And again, the emphasis is mine. Essentially, the debate should center around the subject matter under discussion. I'll therefore urge and call on all honorable members to respect and observe the rules as indicated earlier. And I thank you all. May we now invite tags so that...
Honorable Speaker, point of order.
Sorry. Before we take the list, the tags, may I just recognize the presence of Her Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic. Thank you. Yes, Central Badibu, your tag was up.
Yes, point of order. Yes, clause 51. 51, matters of the day. A member may seek leave of the Speaker to make a statement to the Assembly on a matter which fulfills the criteria specified in paragraph 3. A member seeking leave shall submit a formal request writing to the clerk not later than the time provided in paragraph 4, outline the subject of the matter proposed statement. I wish to make a statement with your permission, Honorable Speaker, and I have submitted my request to the office of the clerk.
I just want to confirm that you are referring to the relevant section. The clause 51, matters of the day. Okay. Under clause 51, subclause 6. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That, under clause 51 of the standing orders, and specifically subclause 6, which states, if the Speaker gives leave for a statement to be made, he or she shall allow the member to make the statement as soon as reasonably practicable. So leave is granted for you to deliver the statement. Thank you. So you can go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, with your kind permission, I wish to make a statement and register my concern on the increasing number of deaths of Gambian women, particularly of recent. Madam Speaker, the saddest and unfortunate thing is that most of these deaths happen at the very termination of their pregnancies, that is during labor, needless to recount the numerous complications and sickness that women have to endure throughout the period of pregnancy. Sadly, Madam Speaker, while there is expected to be joy at the end, after all that pregnant women go through, the worst awaits them during delivery. For what is expected to be celebration and feasting for the family, in respect of the arrival of a new member of the family, has been mourning and crying for the deaths of the ones who give birth to these babies. In some instances, Madam Speaker, the babies will not even arrive. They too die along with the mother. With these 2 weeks, Madam Speaker, I knew 4 women who met their deaths while giving birth life, and whose deaths have been attributed to poor and inadequate health care attention accorded to them during delivery. Madam Speaker, it will be grossly prejudicial to apportion blame to any particular individual, nurse or doctor. However, it is about time we sincerely interrogate our concerns and type of healthcare system that we have for our people. The maternal deaths that are happening all over the country are avoidable and therefore unacceptable. Madam Speaker, it is about time as legislators that action are taken to rescue ourselves and our women from these avoidable circumstances. In order to do this, Madam Speaker, we need a bold and multifaceted approach to tackle this long generational crisis in our health sector. Our mothers, sisters, and wives do not deserve this kind of death. It is true that death is obvious and inevitable, but not in the manner we have witnessed of recent times. This country needs a better healthcare system to take care of our people, particularly our women. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, I wish to move a motion for the Minister of Health to come and give detailed statistics on maternal deaths in the country from January 2020 to date, the primary causes of their deaths, and what the ministry has done or is doing to remedy the situation. I thank you all for your kind attention.
Has been read and the motion will be considered later. Thank you very much.
Point of order, Madam Speaker. On clause 50, on clause 51(4)(a). Yes, it says a request under this standing order shall be made. Yes. A request under this standing order shall be made not later than 9 a.m. on any sitting day. 9:30 a.m. on any sitting day, and the time now is after 11. So,
if you read it, a request under this standing order shall be made no later than 9:30 a.m. on any sitting day. Honorable member, let's first of all understand that our official time here starts at 10 o'clock, number one. Number two, the request was made much earlier than 9 o'clock on the sitting day. So I would overrule your objection. Thank you. Please, can we proceed? Thank you. Honorable members, can you raise your tags for your intervention so that it will be recorded? Yes, from here. Please, can you?
Speaker.
Honorable member for Lower Nyomi. We start with Lower Nyomi. Yes, thank you.
Observe that I have before me proposed motions
that the motion will be dealt with later.
Yeah, what I'm saying.
I did say that. Thank you. Maybe you did not hear it. Please, thank you. Start with Lower Nyomi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Of the content of the President's speech, I was expecting that the elapse of the curfew would have been made known, because it did not cover a good sector of our community. Because when we went home, the markets were still closed on Sunday. And Madam Speaker, let me appeal to the authorities to lessen the leverage that is brought to bear on the Lumos. Our people are definitely tired. Our people are almost starving at that level.
Point of order. No. A point of order. The statement.
Honorable, we are debating the President's address. The President's address.
Madam, allow me
Yes, but it appears as if you're talking, you thought that it was an adjournment debate whereby you can talk about anything. Let's confine, just a second. Let's try, as we said, to confine our observations to the subject matter under discussion, which is the
point of order, Madam.
Which is the address delivered by His Excellency, outlining the programs and policies of his government. Yes.
Point of order.
Can you allow a point of order? Somebody wants to raise a point of order. Just a second.
Thank you,
please,
Speaker.
Honorable members, please. I am appealing for all of us to be orderly. We all cannot speak at the same time. We have to respect the chair and the rules of procedure that we have already adopted. So we are all at liberty to take the floor, but it has to be done according to laid down procedures. Please, I'm just appealing. 2 or 3 people who cannot take the floor at the same time. Thank you. Yes, Cantor.
Madam, it's a point of order. When a point of order is raised, the Speaker is obliged to allow the person to refer the Assembly to the relevant provision. I'm raising a point of order 51.8. No individual statement on a matter of the day shall exceed 3 minutes, and the time allowed for the matter of the day shall not exceed on 3 minutes. The member is not touching on the statement made by the mover. He is dealing with the President's statement. Thank you.
The discussion, the debate that I have opened the floor on is on the address by His Excellency President, known as Sunan. Nothing more, nothing less. As for the statement, this is not the first time that a statement on matters of the day has been made. It has been done here earlier on, and there was no debate on that. So please, let us proceed.
Observation, Madam Speaker. Observation.
Please, I am not allowing any more observations. The honorable member is on his feet. Please. Thank you. Can you proceed?
Madam Speaker, as I said,
of clarification, Honorable Speaker.
I didn't hear the elapse of the curfew as was part of the content of the speech of the President. And I was expecting also to hear that there was lessening and allowance for the Lumos to operate countrywide. That's my intervention.
Birkama South.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. First of all, I want to seize this opportunity to thank the implementation of his development plan and policies. And in the same vein, I also want to thank the authors of this report, which is well crafted and well written. As you can see it, I definitely want to thank them for a better report in terms of arrangement. From there also, Madam Speaker, I just want to start with defense. I have few observations with regards to this particular statement made by the President. The defense aspect of it is, which is very key. If you look at it, bullet number 2, I want to quote, in responding to the call to duty, the Gambian Navy has intensified routine sea patrols to enforce the law and ensure the security of our borders and the territorial integrity of the nation. This is something which is very, very key, Madam Speaker. One thing I'm not very much comfortable, and I definitely was expecting this thing to be captured. What type of strategy? You're talking about the territorial integrity and our borders in terms of water. How about the land areas? And I have been crying over and over with regards to the area in which I'm coming from. It's very threatening right now. Our country has been seriously encouraged. And if you look at it, the territorial integrity of this country has been compromised over and over. I even spoke to the defense minister during his routine tour on security installations all over the country. Dar es Salaam in particular was mentioned. Especially during this COVID-19 period, whereby when the borders were closed, we have seen incidents whereby our own security officers have been assaulted by the Senegalese authorities, and this is a big problem. Madam Speaker, this is a potential conflict between the two countries, and it has to be the approach has to be very serious and concerted from all aspects. That is why I've been dealing with regards to this particular area. It is in two components. There is over the particular community. Madam Speaker, if you look at some of our borders in this country, there's always a buffer between the Gambia and the Republic of Senegal. Like you go to Jiboro, there is a buffer. You go to Senova and others. But you go to Dar es Salaam, this is not happening. You go to Dimbaya, this is not happening. It's very interesting to know that you go to that villages where even our alkali, the alcalo of this particular village.
Point of order, Madam Speaker. Point of order. Madam Speaker, on standing order 51, 6 and 7. 6 and 7. It says, if the Speaker gives leave for a statement to be made, he or she shall allow the member to make the statement as soon as reasonable practicable. 7, the Speaker may select from among those members in the chambers indicating their wish to speak a number of other members to make a statement on the chosen matter of the day. No individual statement on a matter of the day shall exceed 3 minutes, and this time allowed for a matter of the day shall not exceed 30 minutes in total. And we are deviating. The member made a statement. Other members want to make
actually,
their intervention,
honorable
and
member,
now we are going to another.
It's no deviation. The statement actually ended up with a motion. Can you put your mic off? The statement ended up with moving a motion for the health minister to come up and give details. I did indicate that there is a motion. We will come to the motion later. I have used my discretion on the 7, or I will use my discretion on the 7 to allow, at that appropriate time, before the motion is heard, to allow the few members, I may select few members to speak on the statement. But as of now, we are proceeding with the debate on the address. I'm mindful of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I think we need to be very much clear. We are dealing with the State of the Nation address currently. Madam Speaker, as I'm saying, the security of our territorial integrity matters a lot. And I was really expecting this thing to be adequately taken care of. I did a personal engagement with certain ministries regarding this particular area. During this pandemic, we have some of our security officers that have been seriously assaulted because they were trying to close the borders, which the other party, the Senegalese authorities, are not even allowing them. Our immigration officer was assaulted. And the only time I've seen the government intervening when there is a potential conflict. Because there was an instant the youths definitely want to go to that place and attack this said person. There is somebody in this particular community who is claiming to be a Senegalese. And I've been saying it over and over, the man should face a deportation. He's inciting violence in our country. If you look at the level of encouragement in that particular community, it's very, very alarming. And this can explode at any time. The youths mobilizes themselves and they want to attack these people if the government cannot do it. So it is very important. As I'm saying, you go to other borders, there is a buffer between these two countries. But you go to this community, this does not exist. It's not existing. You go there, they will tell you, in fact, there are pegs that are put in there by them claiming to be colonial pegs. I did engage the Ministry of Local Government, the minister, regarding that particular demarcation to at least engage his counterpart to make a demarcation. But I was told they sent a request from the British government to look into their archive, whether they will see the map of the Gambia to use that to demarcate. How long will it take it to get an ordinary map from UK? When still now this conflict is brewing. From there you go to Dimbaya, where our alkali and the water resources minister is here, where we even constructed that borehole. That area is claimed to be in Senegal. There is no buffer. Our alkali and all those communities are said to be in Senegal. So that one needs a real attention. I've been saying this over and over. So I was expecting this type of the territorial integrity of this country need to be protected. Not only with the water borders, but the land borders need to be defined. And we have to know that this is our territory. Anytime, there are a lot of issues happening in this area. I've been saying it. And it's better we approach it and resolve it amicably. If not, this can be a potential conflict between the two countries. From there, Madam Speaker, you look at the Environment Ministry, climate change. Bullet number 3 and 4, like the implementation of the large-scale ecosystem-based adaptation project. You talk about it, but I was also expecting, the minister did promise that this year they are going to make transplanting of seedlings. But we need to get the statistic. We are promised that 1 million trees are going to be transplanted. But how much have been? That also need to be in the report in order to tell us how many trees have they planted throughout the country. But that is not even coming. Madam Speaker, to my special ministry, the Lands Regional Governance, which is one of the ministry confronted with the highest number of gaps as far as I am concerned, because there are a lot of potential conflicts when you come to the land issues in this country. Yes, the Land Commission have been constituted, but how functional are they? Because if you look at the increasing number of land crises, especially in our area, I even want to believe that if there could be that connection where they can allow some traditional owners, chiefs and the governors, to team up with the traditional owners of that area to make sure that they resolve these things. But if you look at the manner in which it is done, it's serious. You go to a part in my community whereby people go with a lot of weapons at that land conflict, attacking one another. Because I've reported to the minister, I reported to the PS and the governor regarding that particular area. But up till now, it's not solved. Last time I was in Busura, I was told a soldier went there with a gun. And this was very serious, and I informed the authorities about this. So it's better we come out with a land policy, especially policy regulating the estate developers. They are seriously encouraging into our land to an extent that we'll have a problem when we come for industrial development, or if we come for maybe agricultural production within this greater Banjul area. It's going to be difficult. The trend in which the estate developers are encouraging is serious, and there's no policy regulating them. And most of them are creating conflict. You go to almost all the villages, there are conflicts. People claiming that they own this land, the estate developers, they give it to the estate developers. So it needs to be resolved. These are the areas where I want to lay specific emphasis, and I will want to wait until if we come to the adjournment debate to talk the other part. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I want to resume.
Very much. Honorable Member for Banjul Central.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me the floor. Madam Speaker, according to the President's address last week, I have few issues to talk about concerning different ministries. First of all, I will come to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation, and Governments Abroad. Madam Speaker, we all know that the whole world is in trying moments since 9 months ago, since in January. We are facing so many difficulties, and Gambia is part of it. We all know that our government at this present stage cannot meet all its short-term plans because of the COVID-19. And it's not affecting only the Gambia, the whole world, as I said. But yet still, the government is doing some efforts. As I can see in the President's address, the government was trying to downsize the embassies that we have, the foreign missions in all over the world, which is very important. But due to COVID-19, it is not able to happen. The government is really spending a lot of money in foreign missions, and I think that it was a very big mistake to establish many missions all over the world, or in many parts of the world. We can always strategize. Like, for example, in West Africa, we can have 2 missions, one in the Francophone, for the Francophone countries, 2 for the Anglophones. That, for example, an embassy can be in Ghana and will be responsible for Nigeria and the countries around that area, and another in Benin and the like, and it will be responsible for the countries around those areas. This will help. But if we want to open foreign missions everywhere, the Gambia will not have the capacity to fund those foreign embassies. After the elections in 2016, we all know that many embassies have been established. Maybe it was just because of political reasons, just to satisfy some people or to compensate some people. But we all know that it is not into our interest. So coming up with this initiative, it is very good. It is very good to do that, to close some embassies and to recall the diplomatic personnel to do staff monitor program. Because sometimes so many people are sent to these embassies, just as I said, just because to satisfy some people or to compensate people, which is not fair. Some of them are even overloaded. But doing this will help a lot. And then we have to put a mechanism to control it again, for it not to be overloaded again. Like, we should avoid whenever a person is removed from his or her position, like for example a ministerial position, and the person wants to compensate the guy again or to make the guy or the person happy and then send it to the foreign mission. Then we'll be doing the same thing. We'll come to this point again. So I'm appealing to the government to avoid such things. Going to Interior, we have all seen the efforts that the security service have been doing during the pandemic. The immigration, the police, the fire service, you name them, they have been doing so many efforts to control the border, to make sure that everything is intact. But we have a problem. We have so many porous borders here that we all know that our officials cannot control to the level that we want them to do that. The main thing is that they don't have the requirement equipment or the materials to do that. Like, for example, immigration officers don't have enough vehicles, motorbikes. Police, the same thing, they don't have enough vehicles and motorbikes. So for them to do their job, it will be very difficult. It will be very difficult to patrol all the borders. And the porous borders give us so many problems. So the government should look into that to make sure that they are well equipped. Doing this will always help us, because when we have these problems of emergencies, we can easily contain them. We can easily contain them. But if we don't prepare for this, when this type of problem comes, we always be in a problem. Before fixing it, it will go to a level that for us to control it will be very difficult. So I'm appealing to the government to make sure that all these security sectors are well equipped. It is very important. In Interior, looking at prisons department, the initiative that the government is coming up with is very important. Trying to bring training programs, skill programs for the adult inmates, so that when they are out of prisons, they will be able to fit in the society, to have their professions, to be able to earn their livings. It is very important. But I'm appealing to the government, because so many people are complaining that, and some inmates who are in prison are complaining that the food is very poor. The quality of the food is very poor. So I'm appealing to the government to look into that, so that inmates will have the correct balanced diet, the food that they need, the quality food that they need for them to eat, to be healthy and to be very strong. I'm going to basic and secondary education. Honorable Speaker, we all know that since March, all schools have been closed, and children has lost a lot of learning hours, so many, and some even tend to forget what they've learned before, because the period they have been sitting at home, it's very long at the moment. They didn't do the third term, and we are coming into the next academic year, and I believe it will not start early too. So the government is trying to make a strategy here for the schools to recover their learning hours, but it will be very difficult. It will be very, very difficult. So I'm suggesting that school days shouldn't be only from Monday to Friday. It can be from Monday to Saturday. Secondly, we should avoid these midterms. Every time, 3 days midterms and the like. It's just a waste of time. It's just a waste of time. And coming to the next academic year, exams should be taken, let's say, at the tail end of the term. It shouldn't be early. Otherwise, kids will finish their exams, and then there will be maybe 1 or 2 weeks that they will sit at home, or they will not be doing anything at school. So it will be very difficult for them to cover up the syllabus that they lost and the syllabus of this upcoming academic year. And I think it is important to at least, but it might affect the afternoon shift. But otherwise, the learning hours should have an increase from 8 a.m. to 3 a.m. But that suggestion, I think it will not work, because we have so many schools, so many kids that are going for afternoon shifts. Honorable Speaker, health. The health sector have been doing a tremendous job, and still they are doing it concerning the COVID-19. But yes, still they are finding it so
difficult for them to do exactly what they are expected from them because, as I said, the health ministry was not well equipped. When this pandemic came, it was very difficult for them to contain it. At the initial stage, we didn't have so many cases. It was a bit easy for them, but for the past 2 months, we've experienced that we've so many cases. We end up trying to find new places for COVID-19 centers, medical centers and the like. But as I said, we should always be prepared for these things. Hadn't been that we have, like for example, in every district, we have a major health center. And in every region, we have a referral hospital. And in all the big villages, we have health centers. This would have enabled us to contain the COVID-19. Because in some of the hospitals, it is very difficult for the sick people to go there and medical personnel to give them attention because most of them are concentrating on COVID-19 patients. And some are at home suffering with illnesses or diseases, and they cannot be attended. So it's good for the government to prepare themselves so that when these pandemics happen, we can easily be able to contain them without having much troubles. But yes, still, I will say a big bravo to the health personnel and all who are assisting in these trying times and moments. Honorable Speaker, I will go to youth and sports. For higher education, research, science and technology, the government coming with the initiative of transforming GTTI and MDI to degree awarding institutes is a very good initiative. To be quite honest, it will help people or students who have the ambition to study technical courses. But many at times, they will start it and will not be able to achieve a degree in the Gambia here if they don't go outside, because GTTI only offer diploma and advanced diplomas. And some of them are very good in the areas, in the technical areas that they want to study. But yet still, we have to be very prepared because, like for example, GTTI offering technical courses. Presently, if you go to GTTI, what I'm trying to say here is that it's not organized at this present time, because if you go to GTTI at this present time, they're offering law, they're offering human resources, they are offering management courses and the like. It went to an extent that all those students who are not doing technical courses are given more priority than the ones doing technical, because they always occupy their classes. In fact, for the technical students to have class, to have their classes, it's always a very difficult thing. Many students have been complaining that for years now. So coming up with this initiative, trying to make GTI totally a technical degree awarding institute will be a very good initiative. But I'm also appealing to the government too. For MDI, it's a very good institute, but they are lacking the financial muscles to do what they want to do, because the University of the Gambia is occupying 35% of the classes belonging to MDI. So MDI always have the problem to take the required number of intakes that they want to take, simply because the university is occupying the classes that belongs to them. Presently, early this year,
the library of the MDI is now under the control of the University of the Gambia for law and business library. So meaning that the University of the Gambia has now seized the library of the MDI using it. And they are using almost all of their facilities. Even the generator that they use when NAMEC is off, it belongs to the Management Development Institute without any compensation. I know that there is no MOU between the University of the Gambia and MDI. It was something that started years ago when Professor Ka was the Vice Chancellor of the university and his wife was the Director General of MDI. So it was something, a verbal MOU. So if they want MDI to be a degree-awarded institute, so they should vacate the facilities that they are using so that MDI will have the capacity to do that. So I'm appealing to the government and the ministry to consider that. Honorable Speaker, Youth and Sports, it is mentioned in the President's address that they are working towards upgrading the Friendship Hostel to a 3-star hotel at an estimate of $35 million. This is one of the most important initiatives that the government wants to do. If you go to the Friendship Hostel, it is in a very bad condition, to be quite honest. The tourism committee went there for a visit sometime last year, and we all saw what is going on in that hostel or hotel. There is no major renovation since it was built in the 1980s. There is no major renovations. The condition is so bad. The rooms, the swimming pool, everywhere, the laundry, the kitchen. And coming up with this initiative, it will help the government. It will help the Friendship Hostel to be able to be having more customers. They have a hall there, conference room. Government can be patronizing them. The functions that they want to be doing or that they want to do, the workshops and the like, they can be patronizing the Friendship Hostel, so that the subvention that government gives them it's very low, so that it will help them to manage the hostel and the whole independent stadium. But without that, there will be a time that they will not even be able to use the facilities anymore. So with these comments, so these are the comments that I have in the SONA. So I think I'll take my seat here. Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you very much. Nominated member, Honorable Ndayasin Cheka. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. I want to commend the President for doing justice to these constitutional matters, although better late than never. I was expecting it in the first quarter of this year, but thank God it has come around this time. What I would have loved to see is the constraints that we have in this country. We have numerous constraints in this country. And what I would have loved to hear is that development on health, so that people will not be frightened to go to the hospital despite the COVID-19. But it's true, we had problems because of this COVID-19. But what is done? We commend the Health Committee for doing justice to go, because we know what is happening in the ground. We have to commend the Minister of Health and his team, but more needs to be done. Malaria, people don't even talk about malaria now. And is it that because of the COVID-19, malaria is no more existing? Is that so? Is it that because of the COVID-19, high blood pressure is no more existing? Or is it that because of the COVID-19, yellow fever is no more existing? All these things are on the ground. But now people are so afraid to go to the hospitals now. They prefer to go to the health centers, to the private hospitals. And how many average Gambians can afford to pay this amount? If you are about to die and you go to private hospitals, you will die because you don't have money to pay. And if you go to the hospitals here, somebody called me telling me that he's in the hospital, but the nurses are running away from him. So as a result, we have to struggle and go to the private hospitals. These are issues that are happening in this country. Now, plans are on the way. I just don't know when plans will reach. Plans should reach. If we don't prioritize, if we don't strategize, plans will never reach. And many, many plans are on the way. So, that being the case, I admire the President coming to this National Assembly to deliver his address. But I would love, before coming to the National Assembly to deliver his address, let him, what is wrong with him paying visits to the departments to see what is happening? Sometimes cut and paste, sometimes are issues, and we should really do away from those things. I admire everything he said. We have a lot of problems, but what are the strategies to make sure that we overcome those constraints? Those are the issues. We cannot say that everything is going right. No. Especially we know that we are in this transition period. Number one. Number two, COVID-19 has struck us. We all know that there are problems, but we should find ways and means of solving these problems. We should strategize, work very hard. We should work very, very hard, including ourselves here in this National Assembly. We should pull our socks, work very hard, because we were the ones who stood here and sworn that we will do justice to this country. And any irregularities we do is waiting for us. All of us, including myself, the National Assembly members, executive, judiciary, everybody, we should pull our socks and work for the betterment of this country. People are looking at us. Some people know what is, sometimes people know what is happening. And some of us know what is happening. So that being the case, we call ourselves Muslims and Christians in this country. What is holding us from doing justice? Let us try by all means to make sure that all what we are doing is not in the interest of individuals, but the interest of this country. This is what I want to say, and I am appealing to the President to make sure that before coming up with any nation's address, let him do his thorough studies to make sure that he knows what is happening in this country. But plans are on the way. My government is doing his level best to know that this and to make sure that this and this is continuing. This is what we have been hearing since time immemorial. We have been hearing such since time of since when I was in this country. I used to hear this. My government and I are making sure that plans will be done. Till when? I was hoping that after 2016 election, this kind of words will be away. But still, I am hearing it. And I am appealing that we do justice to this country. We are going, others will come. We are going, others will come. Let us do justice amongst ourselves. Let us try to see that constraints can be overcome. and problems can be solved. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Fonyi Berefet.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me seize this opportunity to commend His Excellency President of the Republic for fulfilling one of his constitutional mandate. This takes me straight to the statement made by the President under the Interior Ministry. A lot of achievements have been made by the police, but I felt that's what fundamental omission that has been highlighted, that's of great concern to the nation. That's the issue of accidents. I've not seen any statement relative to accidents, and we are all aware that road accidents are taking a lot of lives in this country, particularly in my constituency and the West Coast region. But there's no indication as to what efforts the police are doing in order to mitigate such fatal road accidents. This is key. Concrete steps that the government intends to take in terms of reducing road accidents by way of installation of CCTVs and other traffic gadgets to contain the said fatal accidents. I would have loved to see that, because road accidents is a grave concern to the nation in general, particularly my constituency. That takes me to the Ministry of Higher Education. The issue of Ndemban Skills Center has been mentioned over and over. I do appreciate the government's effort. However, a lot needs to be done. I'm aware of a lot of good things that are going under the scene, and there's one point in time, let me commend the Government Monitoring Committee that went to decide themselves to see. But then the more time it takes, the more dilapidated the building becomes. I was there recently, and then in other rooms, you can see the roof falling off, the doors falling apart. So in essence, the more it takes for the government to complete it and establish the institutions, the more damage will be done to the building, and that will be extra cost. Although I appreciate what's been done, but there's need for better plans and a time frame for the completion of the refurbishment of that skill center, so that the youth of this country could be given the opportunity to learn skills, to allow them to participate in the socio-economic development of this country. Madam Speaker, that takes me to lands regional government. The Department of Community Development under the Ministry of Lands is now implementing participatory demand-driven community development strategies to enhance decentralized structures and support community-based organizations. That's a welcoming news. In order for the decentralization to take its rightful position in this country, the decentralized structures need to be supported. They need to be enhanced, they need to be capacitized. To be precise, the VDCs and the WDCs. That's a welcome news. However, one fundamental issue under that department that is not here, that's government's contribution in terms of the implementation of the decentralization process for the support that it intends to give to the local councils. That's not been mentioned. If you go to other policies, whether the local government Act 2002 and the Finance Act 2004, has closely indicated what this government's responsibility is to the local councils, and this has not been mentioned. For those also at the committee, local government committee, are aware of some of the scenes that are going on the ground. But this particular address is intended for the nation. So those people will not be privy to such information with regards to what government is doing to enhance the local councils. Madam Speaker, last but not the least, environment and climate change. The tail end of that particular incident, environment, that as waste management presents a major environmental challenge for the country, The waste management bill is under review to deal with waste issues. This is welcome news. We are all living witness to the problems faced by local councils and the general environment and communities by way of waste. And so that's an existing policy or law under this institution, with particular reference to the anti-littering law, which also equally welcome. But then this policy, as stated here, really needs proper review. Because having a policy in itself alone is not sufficient. This has to do with our attitudes. We are fond of actually putting more burden on the environment, including myself. Even you driving in vehicles, you chewing your nose, you see people throwing it out. So this issue actually is of great concern. And the council, as I said previously, the council alone cannot deal with this. It needs the intervention of the government. However, community participation is also very, very key. How do we manage our waste? Even if we dedicate all our trucks to waste collection and disposal, that will not be enough. Because everybody is disposing waste, and a few are collecting it. So unless proper strategies are put in place and policies to ensure our waste are managed from our homes and disposed of effectively, the issue of waste will remain a nightmare in this country. But I appreciate and thank the Ministry of Environment for coming up with this initiative to ensure that to review the existing policy and law, to make it better, to enhance it, so that will adequately help us in the fight against waste management and disposal in this country. Madam Speaker, on that note, I want to thank the President once again for fulfilling his constitutional mandate. Although we are all aware of the issue of COVID-19, which is also a nightmare which has held the world to ransom, and the Gambia cannot be excluded. So we need to put our efforts together. As the Honorable Nominated Member has said, actually, we need to come together as a nation. We need to work together. We need to put our hearts together to ensure we defeat this deadly virus. Madam Speaker, I thank you very much, and I beg to take my seat.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Member for Talindi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me the floor. I will also like to join the previous speaker to commend the President of the Republic for giving a very important speech of the nation address. Madam Speaker, I will start my intervention on the interior, where the President has stated that, however, it is predicted that collection for 2020 is likely to drop severely due to the pandemic. Similarly, the production and issuance of national identity cards, biometric passports, and other official documents were postponed. The result was a huge loss for the revenue for the sector. Madam Speaker, however, I didn't have the President touch on anything about issuance of number plates. Issuance of number plates were done by GRA before, and it was reported in this assembly that government spent 40 million and gained only 9 million out of it. And this was shifted from GRA to the Gambia Police Force. Nothing was said about that. I think I am in line with the honorable nominated member that the President needs to do his own investigation, even though they give him a report. Madam Speaker, on the judiciary, he also mentioned of the speeding of justice delivery system so that some prisoners can be given bail and some will have justice at the most given time. Madam Speaker, I think they should also work hand in glove about this land dispute in the country, because sometimes people can take the law into their own hand if they feel that their justice is denied. Madam Speaker, sometimes you have a case at this district tribunal. If they want to scale down the courts, I think the local tribunal, they need to educate them. Because you may have a case there, you will be going for a year, day after day, and you will end up seeing that your time is wasting and justice is not done. This is why there are a lot of land disputes in the country. So I think the government or the justice minister should work in consultation with the with the district tribunal to help them to fast track their works. Madam Speaker, on the petroleum, I didn't also hear the president touch anything about the fuel dump at Mandinaring dump site. And I think it is very important for us to have a police station, fire station at this place because it's in the mix of the community. Madam Speaker, on the health, I think the inefficient malpractice in the dumping, I didn't hear the president also talk about that. I think it's also a case for concern. And I also think on the, sorry. On the women and social protection, Madam Speaker, I think a lot needs to be done. We have a lot of infant mortality. If we want our health sector to be attractive to the investors, I think more need to invest in our health. A lot of women are dying, and therefore, I think the government should do something to see whose negligence such occur or to attract our health system. On that note, Madam Speaker, these are the few remarks that I have on the SONA, and I beg to take my seat.
Honorable Member for Janjambure.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I want to seize this opportunity to also join my colleagues in telling the President that we are glad that he has fulfilled his constitutional mandate by coming here to give us a breakdown of his government's programs. I have a few comments that I want to intervene. First of all, on the trade, industry, regional integration, and employment, together with foreign affairs. Last year, during the trade season, I think every one of us here, or majority of us, were affected by this. We have a Senegalese company in Dakar, in Senegal, that was sending agents into Gambia and buying our nuts from our farmers. I happen to be a member of the trade committee. We called in GRA, the police, foreign affairs, trade, and asked them, why was that possible? How was that possible? And they told us that Senegalese government has a bilateral agreement with China that made that possible. And at the time, we told them that they should work hand in glove to ensure that before the trade season this year, Gambia also, because they told us that they had started, Gambia had already started that type of negotiation with China, and we told them to ensure that before the beginning of this trade season, it is also that Gambia also signs that type of trade, so that those agents can come here, work with DGC, have their agents in the Gambia, create employment, and buy our nuts at a little more expensive price than what the government was allocating. So I thought of bringing this so that the Vice President would take a note on this, and it will be discussed with the ministries concerned. On page 29 of 70, number 9, he's talking of out-of-school youths. Madam Speaker, I stood here on several occasions and I said, CRR being the largest region in this country is still without a skill center. And I think you will all remember this. Over and over, I have been saying this. And still, it is not. Madam Vice President, please look into this. This is going to reduce, it is going to increase youth empowerment, and it's going to reduce rural-urban drift. So it is very important. On the agriculture, page 31 of 70, honorable members, I think you will all agree with me that last year, during the budget session, we together were able to give extra 100 million to Ministry of Agriculture. We have prepared a report on this, of how it was spent. And we were about to present it at this session, but because of this softness, because of this COVID, we are not able to. But we are very, very grateful to the ministry and the president for mentioning it. And the credit goes to the entire House, not only to the committee. On page 36 of 70, why he talks about National Youth Service. Although it's going to be started this year, but I think this is a good venture. And I support this. On the preceding page, 30 of 70, where he talks about the Shanghai Initiative. Again, I will repeat it again, that Shanghai Initiative, Madam Speaker, is very, very good, and it needs to be replicated in all regions in this country. What does it do? It creates employment for our youth. Because if you read this section, it tells you how many youths were trained from all over the country. But I was thinking probably if each region has its own, that will reduce tension on the one in North Bank. So I'm recommending, Madam Vice President, that Shanghai Initiative is very good. It's not only creating employment, but not only to the educated ones, but even the uneducated ones who are interested in farming. So if it is replicated in other regions, it helps the youth to have skills. On the arts and tourism and culture, 41 of 70, on the 2, it says, the door is open, now open for the Gambia, create industries to benefit from the UNESCO International Fund for Cultural Diversity. Madam Speaker, I think you will all remember Janjambure was among the first towns in this country that started cultural week, that we call Chosan. And later on was taken from us. And now we are trying to create it again. Although I recognize that the Ministry of Youth is sponsoring our Konkurang Festival every year. But this time, we want to create the grand one that we used to do. And we are hoping that from the funds, we may be able to get some to organize this. Madam Speaker, finally, I was expecting to find in this report strategy for post-COVID. We order our goods from countries that are also affected like us. And I was thinking probably by now, the government would start strategizing, particularly with certain ministries that are that increases the GDP, or that contributes highly to the GDP, particularly tourism, agriculture, and health. But I haven't seen anything on the strategy for post-COVID. So I think it is very important, and it needs concentration, because hopefully by the first quarter of 2021, COVID would be a thing of the past. So it is now that we start thinking of what do we do, how do we encourage those institutions that should be able to quickly contribute to our GDP to bring it back to where it used to be. So on those few notes, Madam Speaker, I beg to take my seat.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Woodley West.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, everything that we do must be critically examined and the purpose for which it is done. The address of the President to the National Assembly is not a mere formality. Anybody who views it from that point of view, you are wrong. It is not a mere formality. And it is fundamentally important because it is a yardstick that he provides for us to measure not only the National Assembly, but the very people that they are supposed to be serving. They need that yardstick to measure what they are providing against what is being done. That's the fundamental purpose of the nation. That is why it is mandatory. At least once, the President must address the nation through the National Assembly. At least once. And it is necessary because that yardstick is needed by every citizen to measure what is being planned against what is being done. What is being provided in terms of finances, in terms of funding, against what it is really yielding. That is the fundamental purpose of the State of the Nation's address, as we call it. So this little booklet, the address, is a sieve that you use to examine what is really happening concretely in this country. And that's why he has gone from every sector to the other sector. Because every sector is consuming the taxpayers' money. The taxpayer needs to know what I am providing for this particular sector. Is it really yielding what I need? And we, members of the National Assembly, this helps to facilitate the operations of our oversight functions. We need this data to be able to do what is required of us by the people we represent. So it cannot just be a mere formality. And it cannot just be a mere reporting. Madam Speaker, to begin with, paragraph 5, page 10, I think it is a mistake, a typo mistake, because they said 5 million, but in brackets 500 million, which is the correct figure. Page 10 of the address, paragraph 5. Madam Speaker, what is today the most crucial thing confronting this nation? And what is threatening the whole world is COVID-19. I was looking forward to a comprehensive report on this, the current stage where we are. Because we know a lot of things have been done, and we must clap, we must applaud the Ministry of Health and their frontline workers for the courage and determination that they have been confronting this terrible thing that is threatening the whole world. That in spite of our meager resources, we started with determination and courage, with the little we have, and confronted the source of this terrible thing. And we can pound our chest and say, we have tried. Because COVID is now almost going to 7 months old in the world. And in the Gambia, we are still talking about less than 200 people haven't died. In spite of the meager resources and equipment that we have to confront this deadly disease. I think the Ministry of Health must, of necessity, provide this National Assembly a comprehensive report on this particular situation. What are the challenges? What have we accomplished? And what do we still need to do? Because in the speech I'm told that there are 8 treatment centers are being constructed. But we are about 6 months, 7 months old. I thought this would have been the first thing that we should have considered. Because we can't do without that. But all the same, it is never too late for reason to prevail. I know a lot of things have been done, and there are a lot of difficulties to be confronted. And we still need resources to help this sector to be able to become powerful, strong, in terms of personnel, in terms of equipment, in terms of everything that they require to confront this deadly disease. Honorable Speaker, I will not be able to do exactly what I normally do, because of reasons that are specific to myself. But I'll take few sectors. And I'm happy that the President on this particular sector began with the issue itself, land, regional government. I raised here some time ago, and that day, happily, almost all the ministers were here, including the Vice President, who was Mr. Dabo at the time. Land conflict is a big issue in this country. And almost every constituency, there is a problem, land problem. And we cannot just sit by and look at this, because this is conflict between people, communities who are living together. In my constituency, there are situations where they have been there for almost 2-3 years, or more than that, almost going to 10 years. And these issues are not addressed. And this is affecting people who are living together, relatives. But it has jeopardized all that relationship. Friends have become enemies. Relatives have become enemies to each other because of that issue. And that is why government must must address this issue in a comprehensive and conclusive way so that we can move ahead with development. Development can take place in rural areas as far as these situations are prevailing, and they are numerous. In my area, there is nowhere where there isn't one. I can't name not one, but many in my constituency. And I know how they are in other constituencies, so in the URR. But we are silent. As far as I'm concerned, no serious effort is being made to address the issues. And there is a need to do that. Otherwise, you are giving big problem to those who are supposed to live in harmony. Agriculture. Madam Speaker, I've seen in the speech so many investments have been made with a view to creating employment facilities, with a view to creating employment facilities for the youth here and there. Good. But if we want to address that issue in a conclusive way, we cannot but address the issue of agriculture. This is the only area we can address the issue of unemployment, the issue of poverty eradication, the issue of revenue generation, the issue of becoming economically independent. This is the only area we can, which means that we must invest into this. If I go to fisheries, which is part of agriculture, you will see that even though the sums that are given there sorry. Yes. We are told in the first paragraph of that speech in that area that 178,710,608 were generated by this sector. But we know, they have said it here, these are fishing licenses, fines, and fish landings. Supposing we empower this particular sector with the ability to invest, provide fishing vessels, and then we do the fishing ourselves. How many of our young people are going to work on those ships, vessels? How much fish or how much sea resources are they going to provide? How many people are going to work on the land where these things are going to be deposited? How many? How much revenue are we going to generate? We can do without taking money from anywhere in the world. I say this. We can do our development without necessarily indebting ourselves to a point that we cannot move forward. 55 years we have been here. We have been tottering. Development has been tottering because of what we are doing. Take and pay. When you take, you must pay before you can do anything else. And what you use to pay is what you need to do your development. The interest on it is even enough to bring about your development. 55 years. We have diamond. Diamond is this. There is no diamond more than this. And we can even expand it because we can cultivate it. So, I think there is a need for us education. I think worldwide, this COVID-19, the sector it has affected so terribly, and the sector without which the world cannot move is the education sector. For almost 7 months, schools are closed. And they are still being closed. I think there is a need for schools to reopen. But we must prepare for it. I think there is a need for all the principals of high schools to create a think tank and see and plan what the reopening of schools will be. Upper basic principals should do likewise. Lower basic schools, principals should do likewise. We must plan, but we cannot continue to close the schools because that means we are fettering development of knowledge, development of instruments required for the development of our country. COVID-19 is here with us. We have learned to put up with malaria. We have learned to put up with high blood pressure. We have learned to put up with all types of diseases. We must make COVID-19 part of that. We must plan and prepare ourselves to put up with it. But it should not deter and fetter our survival. Human beings have the capacity to overcome any difficulty. We have the capacity to overcome any difficulty if we use what we have. But this must be well planned. I see that it is they are preparing. But given the nature, the overcrowded nature of our schools, from primary to high school, this needs real thinking, real planning. Even if you say double shift, there is already double shift in every single school. There is double shift in every single high school and almost in every upper basic school. So that means that critically, we are faced with a very complex situation which needs real thinking, real planning. It is not just double shift, because double shift is already there. It's not just extending the number of hours. No, it's not increasing the number of days. It's not enough. Those also have their negative impacts. I was a teacher. Many of you were teachers. You teach from 8 o'clock up to 2 o'clock. A serious teacher. And they want you to continue from 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Your output is going to be affected. And the children you are teaching also are going to be affected. So that's why I'm saying, in the situation in which we are, we need think tanks. The principals must constitute that, to plan this more realistically and in a more productive way. But we cannot just jump and say open schools. There will be a tragedy of monumental proportions. Transport, works, and infrastructure. For me, the saddest thing in this country is that there is no public transport. Because the public transport there is inadequate, ineffective. You stand on this road in the morning, you feel sad. People stand on their legs sometimes from morning up to afternoon looking for transport to come. Once upon a time, that was not a big problem in this country. When we had what they call it, the transport company that was there before, GPTC. How many transports were applying this road? Banjul Serakunda, Brickham, all those places. They were here. Basse alone, over 10 buses were going to Basse. Almost every big village in Basse has a bus going there. That was possible some years ago. We are moving forward and we are going backward. What is that type of development? This is supposed to be an industry which was generating money. The money being generated should be plowed back into production. But now it's dead, almost dead. One step forward, 10 steps back. And we say we are developing. C'est pas possible. When are we going to help our people to stop crying on the roads for want of transport? Go there now, you'll find them packed at Westfield. This is not correct. 55 years of independence, they say. For me, it's less than that. But for them, 55 years of independence, we still have problem with transport, moving from one place to the other in this country. It should be addressed. Our people are tired. And it's not even helpful for this COVID-19. Because you see, the congestion that you made rules against could not be respected. Because people must go. When transport comes, everybody goes in. Who are you going to drive out? Madam Speaker, I think this is a fundamental issue that must be given serious thought and solved once more. Information. Every citizen has a right to information, they say. Now, the Gambia is about how many years old? Since 1960. That's about 40 years. And still, it is inaccessible in some areas in my part of the country. And we are all citizens of this republic. We are all paying taxes. Some have access to certain things to which others don't have. And we say we are equal before the law because we are all taxpayers. I think by now, at least radio, anywhere you go in the Gambia, you just to the Gambia, clear as this light. Should be like that. The technology in the world today does not permit that. That people are there, when you open it, there is so much noise, you cannot hear anything. You have to go through something, you know their, technical tactics. That's not enough, madam. And the same goes, that's why our people say radio combo or television combo. Because the ones here are the ones who have access, adequate access to it. To sum up, I want to, madam, to sum up, I want to cite and read, if you allow me, what is in the speech itself. Because when you read them, you feel inspired. And we need to be inspired in order to be able to move forward. So I'm going to read these ones here. He said, COVID-19 he's speaking about. It has brought about a new social order. That is page 66, paragraph 4. It has brought about a new social order that calls for...
I thought you were asking for permission to read it.
Yes.
From what page?
Page 66, paragraph 4. It has brought about a new social order that calls for discipline, collective action, determination, and accepting reality as it is. And then page 67, continuing the paragraph 6, these are moments to build on resilience in order to achieve our noble aspirations. But finally, the one on page 68, paragraph 11. We have to have a new way of embracing solidarity for our collective safety and survival. Let us redefine our roles and development paths against the realities of the times. For me, I find this very inspiring because this is what we need in our circumstances. All the time we need it, but we need them more in the current circumstances. This is what we require. Without it, we can do anything. There is no force, however impregnable, that a united and determined people cannot overcome. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Nyani.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the floor. I also want to join my colleagues to thank His Excellency the President for the State of the Nation address of the 2020 legislative year. Madam Speaker, if you could allow me, I'll go straight to the point and where the President have given statements. I'll read them, then later I want Madam Speaker, Her Excellency to clear my doubts and to clarify some of the statements which have been mentioned on each of the points. Madam Speaker, on agriculture, page 24, page 31, with reference to inputs, 11,000 metric tons of fertilizer are available for sale, while 50 metric tons of groundnut seeds have been provided to farmers on loan, repayable from their produce. Here, I just want to elaborate few on the fertilizer side. This fertilizer for sale, Madam Speaker, it has given most farmers a problem and constraints because the way and manner the fertilizer have been sold was very tough for farmers because they have to go pay to realign, then later go with their receipt to the depot to buy. So I know they want everything to be bought without any problem, but it has given a lot of problem for farmers, like living all the way from Jalokunda or Gunta, come to Realans, pay your money, then go to GGC. It's always a problem. At the end of the day, it will take them 2 days or they will stay too long at the finance sector for them to be able to buy the fertilizer. So, Madam Speaker, page 31, number 7 again, as additional support, variety satisfied seeds has also been disbursed to them. Furthermore, after 23 years, arrangements have been finalized. on cotton production. So here, my doubt is, has already been, cotton production have been already been started in URR, then for the sale to be happen in Senegal, or is still on the pipeline so that farmers can able to do production in the Gambia, then finally they go and sell their fertilizer, their cotton, cotton in Senegal. And I don't know what arrangement should be done for them. And also, I would just want to know whether this cotton production has already been commenced in Bassi. Madam Speaker, in the preparation, number 8, in preparation for the 2020 rainy season, government disbursed various items of machinery and equipment to our farmers nationwide. They include a good number of tractors, power tiller, milling machines, pumping machines, and other agricultural inputs. This is a very huge items and is been welcome. But here my doubt is whether whether tractors also are part of it, because I couldn't know either aware of any tractor which has been given to farmers for this 2020. But if so, I just want to know where the tractors we have been given to. So another one here is about number 9. With the support of the National Assembly Special Select Committee for a budget of almost 100 million, here also the process is on. As we are aware as a committee, already 20 million has been reimbursed for seed secretariat. So the other balance is also in process, but not already been procured to be given to farmers. And we expect this one supposed to happen by now, farmers to benefit from it before the budget. So the other one is about the World Food Program, that is page 32, number 10. It's about food program for vulnerable farmers. Madam Speaker, there is a lot of money that's supposed to be bought for food for the vulnerable farmers. But if you can remember, the Vice President was here, and I have told her about my area. Even the former food items which was been given, most of my communities didn't have that food. And now it's almost high time, because looking at this time of the year, I think it's a critical time for farmers, for them to get this thing on time. Because by October or November, they will start getting their seasonal crops, that is the early millet or maize. I think, in fact, maize has already been started. But as far as this food items is concerned, Madam Speaker, I think it should be fast-tracked so that the vulnerable farmers, communities should be able to get this food. Because, as I said, in my area, the former food which have been given to other communities, most of my villages didn't. And I was aware that some food were left in some of the stores, expecting that at the end of the day, those who don't have will have their food from those stores. But I just had called from yesterday, day before yesterday, that the sugar and other remaining rice which are on those stores have been removed, going to nowhere. They don't know where it is going to. So that also is a concern to me. Madam Speaker, on the side of the health sector, as we all know, a lot of money has been spent on the COVID-19. But my area, as one of the minor hospitals in Kuntau, there is nothing that has been come to the health center there as far as the COVID is concerned. I think we have a report from the special committee that they went to visit this hospital. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of concerns which they have. And even one of my village, which is Amdalai, we have lack of water. And this alhamdulillah, still now they don't have water, drinking water. So we expect a part of this money should have been spent for some of those things so that the water problem can be solved, because the select committee has already lamented it, or they put it in their report that alhamdulillah need water. So, Madam Speaker, this is a concern to us. So basically, almost 500 million which has been spent on health, I think there should be a consideration for my area at least to benefit from one of these, from out of this money. So on that note, Madam Speaker, I also take my seat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Yara East.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, before I commence my intervention proper, I would like to recognize the presence of the Vice President and other top government functionaries in our midst. Honorable Speaker, today we are asked to debate the speech that was delivered by the President, known as the State of the Nation Address, acronym SONA. Honorable Speaker, first and foremost, I want to thank the President profusely for submitting himself to an important constitutional provision, which is Section 77 of the 1997 Constitution. And please grant me leave to quickly read that section. It reads, the President shall at least once in each year attend a sitting of the National Assembly and address a session on the condition of the Gambia, the policies of the government, and the administration of the state. Honorable Speaker, this is self-explanatory, but it's loaded with positive connotations. Honorable Speaker, for the fact that the Constitution is urging the President to come here before the National Assembly to address the nation on matters bordering on its administration and the way forward for the country cannot be overemphasized. Honorable Speaker, lest we forget, the office of the President is one of the highest offices in our land. And as a result, it is always accorded with that mark of respect. And for that vindication, Madam Speaker, I have dissected the speech that was delivered by the President, and I was compelled to summarize it into two folds. That is the highs and lows of the speech. If you like, the ups and downs. Honorable Speaker, permit me to just read one of the paragraphs of his introductory remarks. It reads, once again, it is my honor and pleasure to deliver this annual address to the honorable members of this August Assembly on my government's performance during the course of the last legislative year. Today, my address presents the successes and challenges of a country that was on a steep rise towards economic boom and socio-political transformation when the unexpected stroke. This was the sudden outbreak and rapid spread of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. Honorable Speaker, this is on a high note. On a high note for the fact that the President is not oblivious of the threat that the novel COVID-19 has done to our country. Honorable Speaker, after having highlighted the threat and the importance that we should attach to COVID-19, I have seen the loss of his speech as well. This, Honorable Speaker, is my detached opinion. After having highlighted the importance attached to COVID-19, what comes to one's mind is the regulations governing COVID-19. How well respected are the regulations? We should ask ourselves, are the regulations well respected by the powers that be? I have some evidences here in my phone. I watched one of the newscasts. I saw, and there was a time also, I went just to see for myself one of the clandestine meetings that was conducted in one of the areas that I reside. And I've seen men and women who are in the corridors of power conducting meeting in the midst of COVID-19. When the pandemic was at its height, that was in June, as we are told by WHO, that June is going to be the peak period. But guess what? Meetings were organized allegedly, I repeat, allegedly at the instance of the President, because I saw some NPP heavyweights with my naked eye, and I was talking about...
Honorable, let's be very cautious. I don't want to interrupt anybody, but I think these are issues that you can take up during adjournment debate. Now we are debating or considering the presidential address, and I don't see where that is reflected herein. I would rather you touch on this and we wait for the adjournment debate. We are at liberty to discuss any issue within 15 minutes. So if we can just be guided by our standing orders and restrict our deliberations on the subject matter before the Assembly, which is the presidential address. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, as it pleases your noble office, I'm humble, and thank you for correcting me. Thank you. Honorable Speaker, I'm now being disoriented. Thank you. Okay. COVID-19, Honorable Speaker. COVID-19, Honorable Speaker, as we all know, is a national concern. And I'm just seeking for clarification. Honorable Speaker, during this COVID-19, my own village organized a tree planting exercise, and I was invited. But I told them I cannot attend because of the COVID regulations. But while I was listening to the radio or the TV, I had, something like tree planting exercise being organized by the Minister of, Environment in collaboration with, IVA. So I was equally taken aback. I want clarification on that as well. Honorable Speaker, this will take me to Minister of Fisheries. Honorable Speaker, this is one of the high notes that I want to dilate on. I was part of the delegation that went for the inauguration of the 27 boreholes that were fitted with the state-of-art gadgets. And I want to commend the ministry for a job well done. Honorable Speaker, the communities that were given, or the beneficiary communities, were very much appreciative of the role that was played by the government and the Ministry of Fisheries in particular. So I want to commend them for that. And that's one of the highs of the ministry. Honorable Speaker, Office of the Vice President. Honorable Speaker, with your kind permission, it is the Office of the Vice President has a number of institutions under its purview. I will begin with the National Nutrition Agency, NANA, and like all other sectors, my address will leave out details on COVID-19. Honorable Speaker, all of us are witnesses to rice distribution, food aid to some of the communities, if not all. Honorable Speaker, this food distribution was marred by a series of irregularities, and not my own constituency was even spared. Some of them were given, and some are still yet to be given. So I want clarification on that, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, electricity. Honorable Speaker, the Ministry of Energy, Petroleum and Energy are doing a great work. But in the speech of the President, I have not seen how they intend to address the issue of the perennial problem attributed to electricity supply in the country. We are all witnesses to rampant load shedding. And I think at this time of our country's history, that should be a thing of the past. After having earned our independence for 5 decades plus, I think such things should not be seen. And I hope the minister will shed more light on what they intend, how they intend to address it. Honorable Speaker, transport. If you go to the transport sector, beg your pardon. Okay. A lot of beautiful things were said there as well. But my concern has to do with the road carnage, the way and manner our people die on the roads. That is very, very key. I think government should find ways and means, to address the issue of road carnage, because it's becoming rampant. I don't know what's the problem. Maybe the roads are not worthy. They are not roadworthy, the vehicles. And if that is the case, they try and find ways and means, to address that. Honorable Speaker, Ministry of Health. I also need a clarification there. You see, the President's office is very important. It is one of the highest offices in our land. I listened to one of the news outlets, and I heard the Minister for Health responding to one of the concerns hinging on the SONA as to why the President, when he came into these hallowed chambers, failed to observe the rules and regulations by way of wearing face masks. And the minister's response, I quote, that some people are not accustomed to wearing face masks, or some people it irritates them. I want to understand that, yes, as a country, we are trying to adapt to the new normal, and no one is accustomed to wearing the face mask. And I want the Minister for Health to help clarify as to why he made such a statement. Because immediately I had that statement, my mind ran to animal farm. I don't need to quote. Honorable Speaker, Ministry of Justice. Honorable Speaker, I'm a newsmonger. I watch TV very regularly, and my radio is always glued to my ears. I was watching one of the programs on TV that has to do with the elevation of magistrates and judges, if my memory serves me. I saw the Chief Justice, high-ranking judicial officers.
Don't you think that what you heard is outside the speech of His Excellency? That program reported here?
My concern has to do with about respecting the law. My concern has to do with respecting the law of the land. And nothing has been said about that here. That's what I'm saying. I'm just flagging it. So I just want the minister to help clarify whether we have some sacred cows or not. Very quickly, that's all. It's a concern. I said sacred cows.
The reason why I ask is because it appeared to me that you were reporting a radio program, something that you heard over a radio program. That was why I was just asking.
I just made a neat connection. Okay, Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Madam Speaker, I'm just at the tail end. Madam Speaker, you come to the concluding remarks of the President. And with your permission, I just read quickly. Over the past 3 years, my government has systematically addressed the unfavorable state of affairs we found in the country when we came into office. We have productively reconnected the Gambia with the global community. In the process, we have paid undivided attention on infrastructure, development, energy, and governance, legal matters, institutional reforms, and strengthening amid a strong determination to guarantee and sustain lives and livelihoods. Madam Speaker, I like these concluding remarks. After we have been battered, after we have been subjected to a lot of hardships, this is quite refreshing for the government or for the President to come with such a assuring statement. It means, Madam Speaker, we are on the same wavelength, and that is the development of the Gambia is our main concern. And I believe fervently this country will be allowed to develop in leaps and bounds when attitudes are transformed into altitudes. Honorable Speaker, with these remarks, I want to resume my seat. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Basse.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. First of all, I want to join colleagues who have spoken before me to recognize the presence of the Cabinet, led by High Excellency, the Vice President, and all the ministers here in presence. Honorable Speaker, this has been a constitutional demand on His Excellency the President, and it has been also a rule within our standing orders that the President must address the nation through the Parliament. The exercise has been done. The only correction that I want to propose to the executive, our standing order is requesting the President to address the nation through this Parliament during the first quarter of the year. To be very specific, to attend the first sitting of the Parliament. And that's for many, many reasons. Because through this exercise, the President will help us to know the condition of the country through various sectors, as is highlighted in the speech. How administration is taking place, what are the successes as of now, and what are the challenges, and to give us an account of the previous year, so that we will be able to gauge, to know where we are and where we are heading to. But if it happened at this particular moment, the challenge that we are facing, if you give now us the account of last year, the previous year, that's 2019, we are almost at 3/4 of the year. So you are going to combine with the 2 quarters of the year to be able to know exactly the direction that we have taken and how far are we on the journey. So if it could be possible for the executive to comply with this provision or clause of the standing order, it will help the government, it will help the executive, it will also help the legislature. Because we are working in cooperation, one may not go without the other, but together we'll be able to go. Honourable Speaker, Honourable Member for Woolly West requested for a correction, and I think I have to request for more corrections on that line. If you turn the page, the document of page 9, what is written in letters and what is written in figure is not telling the same thing. $2,300,000,000,000. But in figure, we read $2,300,000,000. So which one might be the correct one? And if you go on page 3, still clarification, on page 43, I think the same thing also is reflected. Sorry, Honourable Speaker. 48, yes. It's 48. Where you have you miss 48. Mm-hmm, 2020. All right, Honourable Speaker, I'm sorry. My notes are not with me here. But anyway, I have discovered such such lacunes being repeated frequently in the documents. So if the executive can pay attention to such, because it is important, the president is reading the nation and is reading for the nation. So therefore, anything that comes from the president's statement, it is not an ordinary statement. So informations need to be vetted before the president gets access to those informations. That's the essence of my intervention in that domain. Honourable Speaker, if I may take you to page 8, the President has tried to put us in the frame. He has come to answer to constitutional demand, but also he has put us in the context. What will be the direction or the direction of his statement? And if you allow me to read 12, as a result, I will focus on the pandemic, hopeful that many of my government's infrastructural, legal, constitutional, and other development successes have been reported widely on the media and other forms of news outlets. So in essence, His Excellency the President is telling us, you may expect many out of this nation address. But in respect to the situation that we are living now, I'm going to focus more on activities related, COVID-19 related programs, activities, and so on. So I think from this close of the speech of the President, we are now in context, and we know how you're going to scrutinize this document. That's the essence. You may expect more, I know, but depending to the condition, to the health situation, this is how I'm going to address you. So that means if anything is not in relation to this, might not be essence as of now, but it doesn't mean that it's not important. That's my understanding. Honourable Speaker, going to page 9, sorry, page 14, sorry, page 12, interior. In the speech of the President, with your permission, clause 1, Madam Speaker, in collaboration with other services, the Gambia Police Force has increased the engagement in community and border patrols. However, border enforcement activities on irregular migrants and perpetrators of transitional organized crimes such as trafficking and smuggling have been constrained due to advance of COVID-19. Honourable Speaker, what I would like to propose to the executive, it is important to pay more attention on community policing policy. I give it a try in my community, within my constituency. Those who knows Basse, especially Sabi, will know that it's very open. There are so many porous borders to enter in the Gambia through Sabi without passing through the official borders. But if you engage the community members, you give them that necessary information that you are protecting yourself, not only your country, because your community is the first point of call. Organize yourself. Manage these borders. it will help the government. And exactly that's what we have done in collaboration with the Office of Commissioner, the Regional Commissioner of Police at Basse. And as I'm talking to you, those borders, or porous borders, to enter in the Gambia through Sabi, through Sare Pirasu, through Tuwa Tafsir, through Sare Musa, are now being under control by the youths of those communities. So if it happened in Sabi, it succeeded. I think if the government cooperate more with the community members, the same thing can be replicated in other regions, especially those who are at the border. The police force alone cannot do it all because we know the constraints. Material constraints is there, mobility constraints is there. Even if they want to render the services, the tools to do so are not sufficient. So therefore, what should be the duty of the citizens now? That's where civic education has to play. For that everybody will know it's true. You have a right to claim, but you have also a responsibility to offer. Honorable Speaker, going on page 14, defense. I would like to inform the executive. I was expecting that from the statement of His Excellency, but hence not there. It's now my duty to inform you that the army camp in Basse, at the point in time, they are seriously handicapped of mobility. The reason why? The two pickups they had, they allocated one to Sambuya camp for a reason. I don't want to go into detail. And the other pickup that they had is the pickup that we are using for night patrols and to visit other borders. And if the need arises, to go and answer. Is that pickup that was involved in road accidents, leading to the loss of a life of one Malik Manga. May Allah be pleased with him. So that being the case, at a point in time, to manage security in Basse today, the will is there, the personnel are there, but the mobility is a challenge. If I may take you to page 17, under the Office of the Vice President, clause 9, with your permission, Madam Speaker, as regard to rainy season, the National Disaster Management Agency has engaged stakeholders and UN partners to respond to any disaster. The initiative is very noble. We appreciate it. But we call your attention as of now that the preliminary result has shown that so far URR has recorded the highest number of disaster victims. And previously what used to happen, we don't want, if response has to come, it should commensurate to the damage volume. And most likely what we do observe, that's not the scenario. The statistics, the way they were given, if responses are coming, it should commensurate to the statistics. This is what I want to call the attention of the executive on. If you go on page 30, Madam Speaker, with your permission, agriculture. And with your permission, I want to read clause 1. The Ministry of Agriculture is one of the most important sectors in the country, as many Gambians are either occupational farmers or depends on farming for substances. The increased production, therefore, the Ministry of Agriculture has been actively in policy development and program implementation. 2 issues are here. I can't understand. It could be, I'm a layman in this domain. Agriculture is one of the most important, underline that word, one of the most important sectors as far as the economy of this country is concerned. And we used to hear that agriculture is the backbone of the economy of this country. But how do we respond to that? How do we prepare morals, minds of Gambian people to that? And the best institution that we have to make our human capital is education. Go to education, go to the curriculum. You will see agricultural subject. 1, it is not a core subject. It is an optional subject. The number of periods accorded to teach agricultural lessons is just 3 periods of 35 minutes. I stand to be corrected, teachers. And you are telling the citizens of that country that this sector is one of the most important sectors. The moment you should put or inculcate that in their mind to believe in it, it differs. 3 periods of 35 minutes per week. And not obligatory subject, but optional. Optional in the sense that you can read agriculture from grade 7 to grade 8. From grade 8, you can drop it. So therefore, the executive, I don't know how the Minister of Agriculture and the Minister of Education can cooperate in that domain to review the curriculum. If we say it is important, it should be important in the real sense of the word. And the environment should show that it is important. I don't know how that could be done, but anyway, that is my proposal to the executive. And again, the second sentence, to increase production, therefore the Minister of Agriculture has been active in policy development and program implementation. Policy development. If you want somebody to take ownership of any program, of any policy, to participate in that policy, during the policy formulation, engage the person. Who are formulating the policies? Where are the farmers? Are you formulating these policies for who? If you are formulating these policies for the farmers should be at the center of the discussion. So that whatever has been planned for them or programmed for them, they will know that I have to do this for it to become a reality. The benefit will be you'll have community participation, but again, you'll have community ownership. because they know that this belongs to them, it's theirs. But if they are not engaged in policy formulation, at the end of the day, do not be active. And let's remember that we said this is one of the most important sectors of the country. How value are we attaching to this sector for people to understand and believe in it, that it is an important sector? That's the question. And that's my suggestion to the executive. Again, close to, with your permission, Madam Speaker, to cite examples, it has developed a national agricultural extension policy to promote production and value addition, value chain development, strengthening the agricultural extension system, and building partnerships. Here, what I want to propose to you, and I have been a living example of that program. You see, let's value adult and non-formal education units. It could be very useful to this sector, agriculture. The farmers, they know. They are not instructed, but they know. And the purposes of such program will be now to reorient them, to instruct them, to guide them, to help them to understand, to put them in a cadre, for them to be responsible of their own affair. This is what's happening in Senegal. What do you call encadreurs, les encadreurs? If you can help me. Les encadreurs. It used to come from the Ministry of Agriculture, but now it's coming from the farming communities, the extension workers. Somebody could be trained within 3 months in his or her own language and to become better officer in that domain than somebody who attended university for that purpose. I am proposing it to you, executive. If you can give it a try. I am here, the member for Woolivers is here. It's our domain. And we want to value it. And the only thing that we can value it, if it is now functional, learn today, go and help yourself with it tomorrow. Honorable Minister, Honorable Speaker, I now move to page 38. With your permission. Youths and sports. This area is a bit complex because it affects the youths, it affects the women, it affects also I think transport sectors. Many efforts have been done to help the youth, the young people in this country. We are very, very grateful to that, executive. All the training that have been done, all the interventions, all the money that have been invested to answer to the needs of the young people in this country is highly commended from my side. We thank you for that. There is a particular issue now in Basi. The users of motorbikes for taxi. That's what young people want to invest in. I can tell you more than 60% of the young people in Basse, they want to invest in that business because it's so lucrative to them. With $35,000, you are able to have a motorbike. You can even have it on rent and pay it on installment. But the problem here, the police are saying using motorbike as a taxi is not within the traffic laws. So that affects the Minister of Interior. Because the motorbike license, the owner is not licensing, the motorbike is licensed to carry only one person. That's the rider. Then it's for private purpose. And if you go to the insurance sites, the motorbike rider is only his own life that is insured, not the life of another person. So now if you want to use this motorbike for taxi, you can see the challenge now. Because the police people will tell them, it is not within our traffic laws. It's true, because the machine is being licensed to carry only one person. You cannot carry more than one person. Only one person's life has been insured. So the second person who's behind you, his life is not insured. You cannot take the risk. So it will make the dialogue very difficult between the youth sector and the police forces. And that's what is happening in Basse. I don't know what the government can do in order to resolve this situation. Though we have seen motorbike riders, yes, some of them do default. They go to neighboring countries and bring strangers through porous borders, which is also a challenge. We know that. But I think if a proper mechanism is put in place, this business could be respected. It could be beneficiary to the society. It could also help the police in their maintenance of peace and stability in the country. And above all, when I did my consultation, when I went to the market women, they told me this has more social benefits, especially for us, the market women, putting into consideration the street conditions in Basse. Even if you can afford the cost of a taxi, the taxi cannot go at certain places. The only means of transport you can use is the motorbike. And if you come to the cost worthiness, it is more affordable to have a taxi to take you home, a motor taxi to take you home than a vehicle taxi. If the vehicle taxi is asking you $100, motorbike can take you with $25. So you can see the social dimension. So this issue should be given a particular attention from the authority. Executive, you are before us. I'm giving you these submissions for your perusal. Honorable Speaker, let's go to 42.
Honorable, I just want you to guide me in terms of you dealt extensively about the issue of motor bicycles. Am I right? Yes, I just want you to guide me. Where can I find the link in the presidential address touching, no matter how broad, on the issue of motor bicycles so that I can correct my records. Because I think we should all try to avoid issues that we will deal with during adjournment debate. I know we have only 15 minutes, but let's try to just follow the rules. Let's restrict our interventions, our discussions on the content of the address. The other issues, they are at liberty to touch anything during the course of the adjournment debate. So let's just be careful of that. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. I respect your view, Mr. Presiding. Madam Speaker, we are talking here about opportunities that could be created for the young people to be employed, self-employed. And that has been dealt by the President. How young people can be self-employed.
I asked that I want you to guide me.
You want me to
So you can guide me and I will see it.
Thank you. Get prepared now. I will start by clause 5. On page 38, the National Youth Service Scheme was able to recruit 602 youths. All of them have been placed for skills acquisition in various areas. Most of them were either employed or are self-employed. Another 150 youths are now on placement at various skill centers or other institutions. The objective here is to create employment for the young people or to orient them to be self-employed. I am saying in addition to that, this also is an opportunity which could be considered by the executive so that if it is properly guided, monitored, it could be a source of employment for the young people in my region and Pasay. Madam Speaker. Anyway, thank you very much. I respect your view.
Yes, I am not convinced.
During the adjournment debate, I will come more on this. I will stop at this. Now, Madam Speaker, I'm calling your attention on page 42. Arts and culture, tourism. Many things has been said on arts. Many things has been said on tourism. But few or even less or even no has been said on culture. Madam Speaker, if you could permit me, I want to call the attention of the executive on the importance of culture for conflict management. It can promote social cohesion. It can give lessons for those who wish to improve the praxis of conflict resolution. I went even to think of how best we can make use of this job kinship, these joking relations. In Mandinka we call Sanawiya. It can pay dividend as far as maintenance of peace is concerned in the country, as far as conflict management is concerned. Could the executive think of having a day called Sanawiya Day for the Gambia, where the Jarankas and the Nyominkas will meet and discuss about these important job relations, where the Badibunkas and the Sarawules will meet and sit, discuss on this issue? Because of recent, I was involved in in a conflict resolution in Sandu. If you permit me, Madam Speaker, to go on that. And I use cultural frame to resolve that conflict. One of the most tension conflict that have ever happened in URR at Dasilame between a Fula and one family Jawara. And the Honorable Minister for Local Government knows what I'm talking about. Culturally, I am a Granke. The relationship between Granke and Fula and the relationship with Granke and Jawara, that's what I have used, a conflict that was in court for almost 1 year. Within 30 minutes, I was able to resolve that conflict, and they shake each other's hand, and they withdraw that matter from the courts. Is that not liable? So our cultures, let us value them. They can help us. Madam Speaker, education, and that's like my last intervention. You see, I had a problem, and I'm still having that problem. If you look at higher education, clause 1, His Excellency, the President said, and I quote, with your permission, the tertiary and the higher education sector is focused, on page 43. The tertiary and the higher education sector is focused on its mandate of human capital development. And if it's a tertiary education here, it's above grade 12. GTTI, Gambia College, MDI, RDI. But if you look at the case of Gambia College, what has been confusion here, or more complex, the Gambia College produces human capital for MOPSI. But it is under the purview of MOHAS. And this creates a lot of challenge. Gambia College producing teachers. Teachers are the human capital of Minister of Basic and Secondary Education. And the Gambia College is under the purview of Minister of Higher Education, Research, Technique, etc. And the problem that they are facing, the need for Gambia College today is less than, or is even more than the income that go to Gambia College. That's why at Gambia College, to have professional teachers, good lecturers on pensionable scheme is practically impossible now. Even to have teachers on contract, lecturers I mean. And the URR, so Gambia College URR campus, that's what they are facing now. I wonder whether that college will be reopened this year, this academic year, because of lack of human capital. And this is the problem. So executive, that's an information. I don't know how best we can do together in order to analyze this situation. But if the trend continues as it is, I'm not seeing the future brighter. As one government, we are all partners. It's only through cooperation and collaboration that we can move this country forward. If you are ready for the cooperation, we are ready for the cooperation. We've seen the will. We've seen the courage that you are doing. But life is all about challenges. But challenges also should not stop you to go forward. So with these few remarks, Madam Speaker, I thank you and beg to resume my seat.
Honorable, thank you. May I take Honorable Member for Birkama North? Birkamano.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I want to take this opportunity to recognize, in the first place, the presence of Her Excellency, the Vice President, and all the cabinet ministers here present, and to seize the opportunity to thank the President for delivering his State of Nation address as required by the Constitution. Madam Speaker, the President did indicate that the address presents successes and challenges of the country, and that the address attempts to duly highlight the government achievement and ever devastating and impact of the pandemic on the economy and the life of the Gambian. He also indicated that details on the sector activities specific to the pandemic will not, however, feature much in the address, and that he observed that as important as our development achievement may be, the pandemic and its impact are uniquely and more urgent and consequently require utmost attention. Furthermore, he indicated as a result, we'll focus on the pandemic, hopefully that many of the government infrastructure, legal and institutional and other development successes have been reported widely on media and other forms of news outlets, and that needless prompted the National Constitution is obliged to official report on government's performance during the course of the last legislative year. Against the background, concise report on the various sectors were given. Madam Speaker, this is precisely the official annual report of the President, as required by the Constitution. As an honorable member earlier indicated, one would have expected this to be a comprehensive report that covers all the sectors of the government on matters on the year in review. However, the point that the President referred in the report that most of the development and other issues have been widely covered may not have been reflected here. I would rather say that inasmuch as the media is covering activities of the government, I think justice has to be done as far as the State of Nation address is concerned, which the President indicated is the official report of the government for the Assembly not to be relying on the media coverage. I think at one point, perhaps maybe as a result of this, or it could be as a report of the sectors under-reporting to the President. That is why some of the ministries are not or have not been adequately reported in this report or in this address. Madam Speaker, a sector as important as the finance ministry, going over the report substantively, one will observe that the address under the Ministry of Finance only capture issue of the GDP dropping from 6% to 2%, the revenue loss 20%, the decline in import duties 2.3 billion, that is about 2.4% of the GDP, the fiscal deficit 1.5% to 2.1% of the GDP, the 500 million emergency fund, and that the government devised post-pandemic plans to protect lives and livelihood. Basically, these are the substantive matters that were captured on this particular sector. I have this opinion to say this particular sector, as important as it is, if these were the substantive issues, this sector is underreported. Madam Speaker, similarly, defense I think security is very key and very paramount. In the year in review, what has been reported under this sector, the Navy intensifying the routine sea patrol, the Gulf participate in the food and face mask distribution, and the Gulf Public Relations Department winning a medal on COVID sensitization, and the Gulf Medical Service personnel deployed to support the front line in the COVID fight. These are the substantive issues that are reported in the sector. As important as the defense, if these are the issues that are reported, I still concluded this sector is underreported. Madam Speaker, there are salient issues pertaining to this sector. For instance, the issue of the presence of the economic force in the country. That is a key government matters and issue that's been reported to this August Assembly. In particular, recently, a request has been made by the President at ECOWAS for the extension of the stay of the economic force in the country. I have the belief that is a noble move. As important as this, that should be reflective in this report, but fell short. The office of the Vice President, it has been mentioned that there are a lot of institutions connected to the office of the Vice President. So far as it is, I could only observe that only 2 have been captured. That is Nana and then the disaster. I don't know what is left, what has happened to the other sectors, and while they are not captured in the address. I'm just trying to cite this to show the importance of this address being an annual report. Adequately, all sectors should try as much as possible to provide the office of the President the wide report in their respective areas. When you come to environment, climate change, the same thing is there. All that is mentioned under this area is the large-scale eco-based adaptation, and then the second one is the OMVG energy project, and the third one, the waste management. environment, climate change, and natural resources. Basically, these are the three substantive issues that are reported under this ministry. Madam Speaker, it will go like this. I will not say all of them are underreported, but in my view, most of them are underreported. I have this belief that the ministries have intensively worked more than what has been reported. And it is my position that this address should be comprehensive. It comes once in a year, and this is officially the report that we should receive from the President. And this is officially what the report that the nation received from the President. So it's important, every ministry or every institution, to do your utmost best and report adequately to the President so that the President can adequately report to the National Assembly. Having made that observation, I have few ministries of concern on issues that are of pertinent importance. The Minister of Finance the Minister of Fisheries and Water Resources did very well in raising the huge amount of funds realized from the fishing license fines and fishing landings. However, there are issues surrounding the way and manner the residents in the coastal towns or villages put it, the depletion of their environment resulting to the activities of the fishing industries in those areas. There are issues surrounding currently the low catches of fishes in those areas. There are issues surrounding the inadequate supply of fishes to the markets, prompting to the high cost of fish in the market. These are issues that the people are crying, and I would like the Honorable Minister to shed light on those issues. Yesterday I was listening to a TV program related to this issue, and the fishermen are raising that concern regarding how we are losing our fish in the sea as a result of certain activities by these fishing factories. And I would like the Honorable Minister to shed light on that. I recognize and then applaud the ministry for the provision of water facilities to various communities across the country that one honorable member mentioned was part of the team that went around in the launching of those projects. Water is a basic necessity. The ministry should still endeavor to provide more of that to more of the communities across the country. On youth and sports, the compulsory national youth service targeting the university graduates. It is a constitutional requirement that the fresh school leavers should be enrolled in the National Youth Service, but because of maybe lack of funding, this requirement could not be met. And if the government is coming with a step to provide a compulsory one for the university graduate, university leavers, I think is a step in the right direction. And I hope it is not only be targeting or stopping to the university level, maybe to senior secondary schools, so that the purpose and the desire of the scheme can be realized. Madam Speaker, on sports, it is mentioned that the country is doing well in sports. The Gambia is doing very well in various international events. Madam Speaker, I would not definitely agree with this position in the sense that if we could be said to be doing well in international competitions, to the best of my knowledge, there could be athletics and then perhaps football. But other sporting disciplines, the Gambia is not performing well. It is even very difficult for certain national associations to partake in international competition because they don't have adequate funding. They don't have the means to take part. Even their own national activities, funding is a problem, let alone to partake in international events. I know very well these two sporting disciplines that I talk about, that is athletics and football, they get support from their international federations, FIFA and IAA. But the others, the support is not forthcoming as FIFA and IAA is doing. So in order to boost our international participation, I think here the government should definitely come in. The national sporting associations are really calling on the government to give it support. Yes, we have what is called the Sport Development Levy. It is my cry that the Sport Development Levy will come in this area to give support to national associations in order to carry out their activities. Madam Speaker, the upgrading of the Friendship Hotel to a 3-star hotel, I did report here in this August Assembly when we visited the Friendship Hostel and the Independence Stadium as a whole, that I will rate the hotel as a 0-star hotel. If there's a project to transform it to a 3-star hotel, it's a welcoming move. However, the whole premises of the stadium will not be fine-tuned in the eyes of the sporting fraternity if only the hotel is upgraded and then the condition of the Independence Stadium remains as it is. I reported that the Independence Stadium is dilapidated. It needs urgent attention to provide, to upgrade the stadium. At this juncture, even the pavilions, I'm afraid, if we don't be careful and do the maintenance at the right time, one day it may cause something that we all may not want it. This is technical advice by the management that the stadium right now required that urgent maintenance. So I would rather appeal to the ministry not only to focus on the Friendship Hotel, but rather to consider the Independence Stadium in general. At one point, the minister also informed this August Assembly that plans are in footing for the construction of stadia in other parts of the country. I would have loved to see that also being reflective in this report. Madam Speaker, finally, the Ministry of Arts, Tourism, and Culture. I think that's one of the ministries that I will say is underreported as far as this address is concerned. For this ministry, it is only about the Gambia submitting its periodic report to UNESCO, that the National Council for Arts and Culture benefiting from the UNESCO package, that 24 Gambian youths were trained in entrepreneurship. And for the construction, the plan for the construction of Eco Lodge in Fort Bullen, for 4 of those similar facilities to be constructed in other regions, and for the funding of the year project for the creative industry. At this moment, Madam Speaker, if there is a sector that must to be talked about in this time of the pandemic, other than the health ministry, I believe should be the tourism industry. This is the sector that is heavily hampered by the pandemic. We need to know the consequence of the pandemic on the industry. We need to know what are the plans ahead. What are the plans ahead? Since we are now looking forward to the new season, I believe, in the next month, that is October. There are fears that the pandemic will still continue to hamper the industry. What are the plans ahead in order to allay those fears? But nothing of such have been reported. The industry has been crying how they have been affected. The hotels are crying. The employees are crying. And even the tour operators. If nothing of such have been reported in that, from that particular sector, I'm saying and concluding that this particular ministry or sector is seriously underreported as far as this address is concerned. And I will, as I urged earlier on, the sector to do justice to the present address and adequately provide all relevant information necessary to be given to the National Assembly for the purpose that this report deserved. Having said so, I have seen the colleagues have also covered all the some of the ministries. Then I will spare the time of the Assembly, and then thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the floor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Birkama North. Honorable members, at this point in time, I would like to invoke Clause 13 of the Standing Orders for the sitting to be suspended for a short break, and I'm suggesting we reconvene at 3:30. Are we agreeable? I think we're in order. Yes, thank you very much. So the sitting stands suspended till 3:30 for a short break. Thank you.
Thank you.